Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we look at headlines, we look at news, we look at information that provides us with the tools that we need to have nurturing connections here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English speaking locals. And today I am so very happy because it's Friday. For starters, it is Friday. And secondly, I have news. We have all kinds of news. We have important news, but we have a lot of like lovey-dovey news and personal stories and all kinds of wonderful things that I'm just itching to share with everybody. So let us go through our usual motion. If you are new to the broadcast, please let us know. We want to give you a proper welcome, and we can do that if you add the word new to your comment while you're watching. Also, if you have something truly important that you wish to mention, it helps if you add a letter Q at the beginning of your comment, just as Dory did. Dory says, "Good morning from Aramara. Did anyone else feel the earthquake last night?" I actually did not feel it. I was having my own earthquake of sorts, jumping in the bed with Luna. And I have not seen any headlines about it. So I hope it was nothing major, and I hope everybody's doing okay. We have important news about COVID. We have news about Riviera Quale. We have news about construction of the Insurgentes St bridge. We have news about vaccines. Very important news about vaccines for leftovers. And we have some personal stories that we want to share today. So it's going to be packed. It's going to be a long, fun broadcast, so we might as well get started with it. As always, we'll go through our headlines, we'll go through our stuff, and then we'll go through the leisurely stuff. Today, we're going to discuss how to love forever. Can we love forever? That's a good question. And we're also going to look at Cinco de Diciembre, our neighborhood that we discussed today. And we're going to talk about this neighborhood that, you know, if it was bubblegum, it would be tutti frutti. If it was a restaurant, it would be a buffet. And yes, I'm talking about the Colonia Cinco de Diciembre. We get to find out why in the second half of the broadcast. So let's just dive into all these juicy things. This is super, super important. Yesterday afternoon, we learned that the government changed their tune at the last minute, also allowing leftovers 18 plus to get their first COVID vaccine shot during the ongoing campaign that started yesterday and continues today. This is the first time we've had a first-time vaccination campaign in months. So if you've been waiting to get your first shot, today is the day to do it. It's AstraZeneca. You can get your prick at La Lija or at the Naval Hospital, and that's it. You know, if you haven't gone, Today is the day to do it. Drop everything and go get your vaccine. To that effect, we learned from this other news article that there are 20,000 vaccine doses left for today. So, again, if you are a senior, 60 years of age or older, looking for a booster shot, if you received your first AstraZeneca shot back in October and are looking for your second shot, or if you are a first timer that for whatever reason has not gotten vaccinated or know of someone that fits that case, today is the day to do it. This is very important. I do know that it is very unlikely that we are going to see first time vaccination campaigns as frequently as we used to. So this is something you may want to get done during the course of the day. A little bit more COVID related housekeeping, even though the state government has been specific in establishing that the free testing available at the university is for folks that actually have symptoms. Apparently, enough people have made other type of inquiries for us to remind you that the free tests offered by the state government are not for folks that are looking for a test in order to be able to travel or for folks that are looking to go cocktailing at bars and other nighttime venues. The tests are only available for people that, number one, have had contact with a positive person, even if they don't have any symptoms yet. And number two, for people that already have symptoms and as such should get tested as quickly as possible to break the contagion chain. Here's another one. The Secretary of Labor reminds us that it is unlawful for your employee to expect you to pay for your own COVID test to enter your workplace. Your employer should be paying for this, should not be expecting you to pay for it out of your own pocket. Along the same lines, workers are reminded that if they present symptoms, they should stay home in order to avoid spreading COVID amongst coworkers. Now, I share this with you knowing that it is very unlikely that many of you are still working or own a business, but I share this with you to provide a little bit of context of what goes on in our city. Now, I don't know this as a fact, but through hearsay, I know that, a lot of employers make it very challenging for their own staff to go get tested and go get vaccinated when they should. So this is just a reminder that even when the government's Secretary of Labor comes out and gives us these reminders of things that are illegal, unfortunately, a lot of stuff like that still goes on. So it is unfortunate, but I thought you should know. Here's another one. As you know, the new mandate to show your vaccination certificate or a recent PCR test in order to enjoy cocktailing at a bar goes into effect today. And the local government is now announcing that restaurant bars should also follow the mandate. But don't let this confuse you. Yesterday, we talked very specifically because a question was brought up. Are restaurants also going to ask you for a proof of vaccination? The answer is no. But the government knows that there are certain bars out there that have restaurant licenses or vice versa, and that come the late hours of the night, they continue serving cocktails without serving food. So the restaurant has been very clear in specifying to those bars that are restaurants but late at night are only operating as bars or bars that have a restaurant license, they are looking at you and they are looking to stop by again late at night to make sure that people are behaving as is expected according to the latest mandate, which will go into effect, will continue to be in effect until the middle of February, we announced yesterday, by the way. Noticias PV reminds us that the Malecón is now a scenic obstacle course with hundreds of tourists and locals wandering about without a face mask on, which is mandatory even if you are in the outdoors. All I can say is either walk around them or find an alternate route if this is something that concerns you. That's what I've done. I don't walk down the Malecón anymore, at least not right now. And then moving on, we have this beautiful photograph, drone photograph published by Reporte Diario yesterday, showing the advances on the vehicular bridge on Insurgentes. Here we can see La Fuente del Puente on this side. We can see the Mercado on this side. And if you pay attention to this section, there is a wall which confirms the fact that you are going to be able to walk under the bridge right here in the middle of it. So that'll be kind of fun. Um, of course, they're still announcing that the bridge will be ready by the second half of February. We're still ready to be pleasantly surprised if this happens, but our bets are pointing, further down the line. Maybe March, maybe April. But again, I love a pleasant surprise when I get one. Meanwhile, folks living next to the Rio Quale on the opposite bank from the Riviera Quale condominiums are increasingly concerned with the work being done there to reinforce the building structure. It's nice that they're doing that, and it's nice that they're making sure that this beautiful condominium project doesn't tilt. But in the process, they have considerably narrowed the width of the river at this particular spot, such that when the rain season returns in 5 months, and should the river flow rise considerably, it could damage the opposite side as well. For context, let us take a quick look at the map to see what we're talking about. So here's Rivera Quale, and here's the Rivera del Rio Street. And it's around this building and right next to Invierno Street that all this reinforcement is being built, but making things very, very narrow. So hopefully whoever is responsible for this implementation or this construction is being mindful of the fact that, if you narrow the path of the river, water will have to find other places to move about. And hopefully that will not be in people's living rooms or properties. Before we continue, let's see. Oh, let's continue with this. Yes, as long as the map is handy. Purum pum pum. There you go. Mayor Michel has inaugurated a brand new walkway in Colonia Benito Juarez that apparently has been expected by residents of that colonia for decades. The new walkway connects Pedro Moreno and Diego Rivera streets by way of a paved road for pedestrians only. And since I've been curious about walking that area, I'm going to show you where I think it is on the map, and we'll probably go explore it sometime in the near future. So back to our handy dandy little map. Let us move a little bit south here. In fact, let me pull back. So here's the Libramiento, okay? And here's Colonia Benito Juarez. Here's the bridge. And here's the road to Paso Ancho. And the walkway, I'm not entirely sure where it's going, but the two streets that are involved are, let me go into my satellite view, are this street here and this street here. So I don't know exactly where this walkway is in this general area, but I'm really excited to go explore it because we haven't gone walking up that hill, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to explore and bring back some video for all of us to enjoy. But now, let's take a look at the weather just to see what we can expect for this weekend. If the Supreme Court won't force meatbags to get vaccinated, maybe I should. That's what our snarky weatherman has to say today. And that's fine. That's fine. What I'm concerned about is the fact that it is 25 degrees out there right now. Humidity is high. It's 61%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 77. Our weather forecast for today: we're going to have a clear day with a high temperature of 28, low temperature of 19. Tomorrow, Saturday, it'll be humid and partly cloudy through the day. High temperature of 28, low temperature of 20. And Sunday will be partly cloudy with a high temperature of 28, a low temperature of 18. What are you all up to this weekend? Please let me know in your comments, and I'll be happy to tell you what I'm doing. Let's see what else is going on. Let me say, oh, yes, of course. Let me set up what's next. First of all, I have two personal stories to share with you before we dive into our neighborhood profile. The first one has to do with yesterday's broadcast, during which Michael Boufford, our friend Michael, who owns Bravos and Siam PV and Poblanos restaurants, was very kind yesterday to offer to match all the coffees that were purchased during 60 minutes after the broadcast yesterday. And and I am happy to report that 107 coffees were purchased by you. And yeah, and that makes me very happy because thanks to your generosity and thanks to Michael's generosity to match the amount equivalent to the coffees that were purchased, we will be able to upgrade both our stereo microphone and also the camera that we use to record our walking tours to make them even more immersive and better for all of us to enjoy here at Coffee and Headlines. As you know, your generous contributions, your subscriptions, your memberships are destined to ensure that we are able to continue providing coffee and headlines along with all the other things that we bring to the table so that we can all better connect with our city, our surroundings, and our culture. So I cannot tell you how grateful I feel about this. And I also feel compelled to share, as I clear my throat, how challenging it is to do what we do for a living. It is easy to have a job where you can expect a certain salary um, uh, every week or every month or whatever. It is more challenging when you are a freelancer and you don't always know where the money is going to come from, and that certainly applies to me. But then there's a third level of learning for me, which has to do with this hybrid modality under which we operate, which is possible thanks to your contributions, and 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 it's been a lifelong challenge for me in my personal life to learn how to accept kindness from other people. And it is particularly tricky when kindness has to do with financial kindness. I'll be the first person to admit that it still makes me very uncomfortable to a certain extent to work uh, and to live through buy me a coffee. And all I'm trying to say is that it is challenging, but every good life lesson is challenging, and I'm grateful for having yet another lifelong challenge to deal with. So I thank you very much for that. Again, the monies that resulted from yesterday's adventure and have resulted in the purchase of that equipment, which has already been purchased. I purchased it this morning. So in about a week and a half, we should be looking at brand new walking tours that will involve stereo sound, hi-fi stereo sound, and we will be able to continue to do the still photographs that we are accustomed to and do some narration and all these wonderful things that we have been doing. So that is a very long-winded thank you, and I hope you feel thanked, because I feel loved and I feel appreciated by you and your company, your friendship, your presence, and certainly your financial contributions through coffees and through membership. The second, where's my beating heart? I need my beating heart. There you go. Let's leave this on for just a second. Thank you. And Luna says thank you. Oh, Luna's gone. She's exploring. Anyhow, my second love story has to do with this photograph that I'm going to show you in a second. Where is it? There it is. Okay, look at that. Wearing a red sweater is yours truly. I was 20 years of age. Standing next to me is my beloved first love, first boyfriend, Jay Atwood. We went to college together. We went to music school together. And even though we haven't seen each other for decades, Jay and I continue to be close. I mean, Jay showed me Stephen Sondheim. How could I not love the man even today? Um, and in fact, when Stephen Sondheim passed, I reached out to him and I told him, thanks to you, I'm a better person and I'm a better musician. So it's nice to have people like that in our lives. Anyhow, Jay reached out to me not even a week ago, and he says to me, two friends of mine, Heather and Marco, are now living in Puerto Vallarta, and I found out they're living in Aralias, which is just down the street from me. And let me show them to you. Here they are. And that's Heather, and that's Marco, and they have microphones in front of them, and you're probably wondering why. Well, in having a conversation with them, I learned that they produce a podcast called How to Love Forever. In this podcast, they use their own fractured upbringing. And that is not a shady statement. I mean, we all have fractured upbringings. In fact, if you think you don't have a fractured upbringing, that's probably what makes it fractured. Anyhow, they use their own life experience to share knowledge on how to better love ourselves and one another as we pursue new relationships or try to improve the ones we already have. I listened to the first episode of their podcast, and it is a wonderful metaphor for a first date. Because in the first episode of the podcast, they invite us to go, they tell us about their life stories and what was their childhood like and what prompted them to begin producing this podcast. And they end the episode saying something along the lines of, well, if you enjoyed our first date, keep listening and hopefully we'll have good dates together. So I share this with you. And of course, I'm going to share their Facebook page so that you can also connect with them and find out more about how we can all learn to love forever. And whether podcasts are your thing or not, what I find amazing about this particular story is how we go about reinventing ourselves and in this new world that we live in through the pandemic, and how these two individuals decided to produce a podcast from Puerto Vallarta, no less, which, has something to say about the fact that you can be anywhere in the world. And thanks to the internet, we can connect with one another and produce something wonderful and nurturing and make a living. So happy to have discovered the podcast. Looking forward to meeting them in person. And so very happy to share this with you as well. And this brings us to the end of today's comments. So let me take a quick look at what's going on. I've been very good today. I've been not looking at your comments at all because I constantly get distracted by them in a good way. But now it is comment time. So it's nice to see that we have our usual batch of good mornings. Oh no, Albert. Oh my God, we have, I'm already looking at, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being in Cinco de Diciembre, because I'm diving into the comments and we haven't even done our neighborhood profile. Hello, Paco, have more coffee. Let us talk about Cinco de Diciembre. I need one of these. Where are they? There you go. I was happy and ready to miss an entire segment. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. As I said before, Cinco de Diciembre is the tutti frutti of bubblegum. It is the buffet of restaurants. Why? Because it has a little bit of everything for just about everyone. Cinco de Diciembre is right next to El Centro. It's right next to Libramiento on this side, and it's right next to all these other colonias. We know perfectly well where it is. We also know that Cinco de Diciembre is Cinco de Diciembre, not 5D. It's not a bra size. It's Cinco de Diciembre. That's the name of the neighborhood. It's not 5D, just like Emiliano Zapata is not easy. It's Cinco de Diciembre. And speaking of Cinco de Diciembre, well, it's a date in the calendar. And for the life of me, I went looking for what's going on in the world in Cinco de Diciembre. Why would somebody call the neighborhood Cinco de Diciembre? So I found these special dates on a calendar produced by Mexico's Secretary of Public Education. And here we learn that on December 5th, in 1810, Miguel Hidalgo forbid the leasing of common land. So it may have something to do with that. I also learned that in 1941, the National Chamber of the Transformation Industry, or Canacintra, was founded in Mexico. Somehow, I don't think it has to do with that. And somehow, I don't think it has to do with the birth date of Walt Disney. He was born on Cinco de Diciembre, 1901. And I don't think it has anything to do with England's Football Association banning women from football in 1921 or the Rosa Parks Montgomery bus boycott of 1955. In reality, I have no idea why it is called Cinco de Diciembre, but it is. And again, it has a little bit of everything for everyone. It has flat streets, cobblestone streets with public transportation available. So there's a flat section of the neighborhood where you don't have challenges schlepping your groceries from one point to another. This is a very Mexican neighborhood. And it also has hilly parts where you can find swanky condominium projects for people that enjoy a nicer view and don't mind schlepping their groceries and chingaderas up the hill when it rains. There are cute little streets in the neighborhood that are also very private, where you can find, again, Mexican people happily living next to foreigners. There's a lot of convenience stores. There's the fish market in Cinco de Diciembre. I mean, this is the one municipal market that focuses mostly on seafood, although you can find other kinds of things. When it comes to dining out, you can find swanky tacos, such as these that come from Barracuda, a beautiful oceanfront restaurant that we frequent quite a bit. And you can find more modest tacos, such as these, that you can find at Pepe's Tacos, which is also on Cinco de Diciembre, and is open through the wee hours of the morning. You can find gorgeous artwork that is out and about as you're walking around. So there's a beautiful sense of community. You can even be buried in this colonia if you care to die in the near future. Although from the look of the cemetery, I don't know that there's still a lot of space available. Anyhow, there is just a lot to be enjoyed in Cinco de Diciembre. The ones, or the few things that you cannot find in Cinco de Diciembre, for example, it's close to the ocean, but there's no green spaces in Cinco de Diciembre. It's close to the plaza, what is it called? Oh dear, Parque Hidalgo. It's close to Parque Hidalgo, but there's not a lot of greenery. It's next to the hilly part of Gringo Gulch in El Cerro, but it's not like you can easily get up there. But again, for the most part, Cinco de Diciembre is a great colonia to live if you want to be close enough to the city, if you want to be close enough to the ocean, if you want to have access to food, access to bars. There are swanky restaurants like Barcelona Tapas, where you can enjoy live music. There are other bars that are more popular, where you can also enjoy live music. So there's just a little bit of everything to be enjoyed there. Next week, we are going to be looking at, where is my keynote? Here it is. Next week, we're going to be looking at Versalles. Versalles is the last colonia in our initial group of colonias that we decided we would profile. So we are going to end the first batch of colonias with Versalles, which at the time turned out to be the most popular colonia, the one that you wanted to know about the most. So that's why we put it at the end. And then you have already suggested 3 additional colonias, which we are going to enjoy in the weeks to come. And how fun it's going to be to enjoy them through new walking tours using the new devices that we have purchased. And now we are going to dive into your comments. Thank you very much. And back to the original comment that triggered the neighborhood. Alfred, I hope you are doing well as you're recovering from COVID. It sucks, but I'm glad that we can be of help, keeping you company for a little while. Let's see what else we have. Boom, parim, pam, pam. Doo-doo-dum, boom, bim, pam. You look like a bright, sunshiny morning. Love the yellow. Thank you very much, Marie. I'm in a very good space because The love is real, and I feel a lot of love right now, and it just feels great. So I hope you're feeling the love that I'm feeling because it's a good day. Let's see. Bidi-ba-ba-ba-ba. Oh, good. Charles says that Walking Wednesday has been an inspiration. That makes my day. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, and good luck finding a permanent home. Albert says, I had a great Uber Eats meal from Siam last night. Thank God for Uber Eats during COVID. I hear you. Absolutely. And it's good to hear that you got food from Siam. Alan keeps counting, 56 days. We're counting with you. Let's see. You are the second person that mentions this to me, Suzanne. Another paraglider that went on the loose, apparently. I haven't seen any headlines, but those headlines are bound to show up on the paper at some point or another. As soon as I find the headlines, I'll be glad to share them with you. Purum pim 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 pim. Let's see what else. Mr. Yerba Mate has decided to stay in Puerto Vallarta for 5 months. Good for you. I hope you continue to find prosperity here in our city. Have you already said how many coffees from yesterday? Yes, I did. And I'm happy to say again, yesterday's exercise in kindness resulted in 107 coffees. Again, thank you so very much. I am so very happy to invest those coffees into giving you a better experience, a more connected experience here at Coffee and Headlines. You guys are great. Let's see what else. Boom, ba-da-dum, bam, bam. Da, 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 da. Yes, thank you very much for that comment, Michal. Good reminder to be patient as some are experiencing staffing shortages. I had a conversation about this with Michael yesterday, Michael Boufford. I was sitting at Siam and he told me we're looking for people, but it is difficult to find people that are looking to work. And not only that, here's the audacity. I read a news note yesterday that said something about the fact that there are people that are faking Social Security COVID-related absent permits. When you work and you're under Social Security, you go to Social Security, they tell you, oh yeah, we've examined you, you are sick. Here's the piece of work, the piece of paper that you should show your employer so you can be excused from going to work. Well, there are people that are paying for fake excuses to go to work, which to me is just absolutely baffling. Christy says, how can they control corner outdoor bars with the protocols? Well, as always, Christy, the government is banking on the fact that people, both business owners and those of us that are part of the general public, will do the right thing, that we will share our co-responsibility in doing the right thing. Is the government all of a sudden going to materialize enough workforce to go inspecting businesses during this latest mandate? No, I don't think that's going to change. I think there will be some unlucky businesses that are not doing things as they are expected by the government that are going to be inspected, that are going to be punished or chastised or fined. I don't know exactly what the logistics are. But all we can do, and I sound like a broken record, is take care of ourselves, take care of our own cluster, and wear our end of the deal, wear our responsibility with patience, with gusto, with pride, with love, and do what we know we need to do for ourselves and for those around us to break the pandemic as much as we can. I hope that's helpful. Let's see. Oh, Anna, I hear you. It is getting scary out there, and Anna says, I'm sure the whole world is tired of this, but it is not an excuse to drop your guard. Thank you very much, Anna. We're all weary and tired, which is why finding nurturing connections, I think, is so important. And again, we do what we can to provide that. Let's see what else. Kate asks, what happened to a parasailing person? All I know is another person went flying on their own and was carried by wind drafts, but that's essentially all, all I know at this point. Oh, Jenny, thank you very much. Luna and I love you back. Yay. Michael, again, thank you very much for your kindness. Um, Thank you. Thank you. That's all I can say. And thank you for being such a good friend too. And thank you for appreciating that it's weird. It's weird to sit where I sit, but thank you very much. Thank you. Um, Ramon says, "Can I get a job at Poblano's restaurant since my name is Poblano?" Well, probably. I don't know. I don't know what your skills are, but I can tell you what. If you become a member of Coffee and Headlines, you can be part of our members only broadcast, which is going to be scheduled shortly. And another thing that we can all be thankful for when it comes to Michael Boufford is he offered a 500 peso gift certificate to give away during our next members only broadcast. Thank you, Michael. We'll be so very happy to do that. So, Ramon, you may or may not be able to get a job at Poblanos, but if you become a member, you can be eligible to earning a 500 peso gift certificate. Let's see. Here's a thank you for Michael from David. Thank you very much to the both of you. Let's see what else. Booty ba 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 ba. I don't know what this hashtag is about, but I am going to take advantage of it, Barbara, to say that it was. I frequently comment on fundraisers, and I quickly comment on nonprofits not being very transparent in what they do with their monies. Through this exercise, it was absolutely important for me to be clear and transparent as to what happened, and I hope that I have achieved that. This way of working, this way of making a living, which I've been embarking on for almost 2 years now, is something that we're undertaking with a lot of responsibility, with a lot of love, and making sure that whatever we share here is accurate and truthful to the best of our abilities. So I don't know, again, I don't know, Barbara, why that hashtag is there, but I love it. Thank you very much. Ba ba da ba beep ba boom ba dum ba 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 da ba ba ba. Let's see what else. Oh dear. I went to a Palomar de los Gonzales, overpriced dirty cutlery, and the staff thought that a 10% on a 4,000 peso dinner was insufficient. Never ever will go there again. It was a man serenading with a guitar. I told him no thanks, but the song A Terrible Bolero and asked me for 150 I am sorry to hear I'm sorry to hear that, Daniel. For the record, you may want to keep this in mind. Most people in town, I know that you just moved here, most people in town tip between 15 and 20%. That is the norm. I know it's not mandatory. Um, so just keep that in mind. I am sorry that your dinner was not ideal. I recently met the owner of El Palomar de los Gonzales. He comes from a long line. I mean, the restaurant has been there forever, and hopefully you found a kind way to share your concerns with them. Um, and I'm not saying give him another shot, but again, I do want to mention the tipping situation. In fact, if anybody else cares to comment on how much you are tipping these days, that would be helpful for others that may be new in town, just that people can be on the same page as far as expectations are concerned. Again, 10%, that seems a little bit low for me. I usually tip between 15 and 20. But thank you so much for sharing your feedback. I hope your next experience at another restaurant is better than that one. Let's see. Pari-pa-pi-pa-pam. Da, 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 da. Marcia says, I don't have PayPal or anything. How do I officially join? Well, if you have a credit card, Marcia, that's all you need. Just go to the link that we show at the end of the broadcast or that we show at the beginning of the comments, and you should be able to do it with your credit card. If you don't have a credit card and you are in Puerto Vallarta and you would like to pay for your membership in cash, we can find a place to drop off the money and make that connection. But ideally, if you have a credit card, you should have no problems going through Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you very much for your support. So you did have hair everywhere, Anna. I had hair down to my shoulders at some point when I was a heavy-duty rocker. But I don't even have hair in my, well, not too much information. You don't want to know where I don't have hair. I don't have hair here. There you go. Let's see what else. Flat isn't where I am, says Albert. That's at one big hill up Honduras. Yes, yes, absolutely. There are so many young people angry because of the new rules. A lot of them don't believe in the shots. Then they are moving around PV. Is that, and that makes PV dangerous? Well, yeah, that's one of the unfortunate sides of what's going on right now, and that is what the government is dealing with, trying to find constructive, creative ways to get as many people vaccinated. But I know that a lot of people don't believe in the vaccines and the whole thing, which is unfortunate. Javier thinks that Miguel Hidalgo's protection of communal lands or ejidos might be the reason for the name. I do too, but somehow I had to throw a little bit of amusement into the fact that Cinco de Diciembre is called Cinco de Diciembre. But I must say, Javier, I always laugh when I see 5D. I always think like ginormous. Well, you know what I mean. And this is true, Barbara. The stadium is right next to Cinco de Diciembre, so there is a park, and it's a great place to go. Absolutely. Thank you very much for reminding me of that. There's a question, not even a cue, a question. Do you have to register to get a vaccine, or can you just walk in? Asking for my daughter who hasn't gotten her vaccination. You want to register, Susan. You have to register. So the website has been posted, and the website is available on the news item. You cannot just walk in. Let's see. Oh, Kimberly went to macaroni and cheese at Whiskey Kitchen at your suggestion. Yummy. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Right now, unless it's a really safe restaurant in Emiliano Zapata, there are 3 places that I'm enjoying very much. In case you're wondering, I'm enjoying a Whiskey Kitchen. I'm enjoying Mi Café, and I'm enjoying all the restaurants that Michael Boufford runs. Those are my go-to choices. If anybody else is recommending really amazing eateries that I don't know of in Emiliano Zapata, or in that general part of the city, I'm being very careful with my choices. But I'm glad that you enjoyed Whiskey Kitchen. Just reading about it makes me want to go back, and I have friends that have never been, so I'm itching for another Whiskey Kitchen run. Oh, I see. He was a powered parasailer, no ropes to break. Thank you very much for that. Again, if you read it on Facebook, I don't know about it. If I read it on headlines, I share it with you. Dudum bum bim bum 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 bum. Oh, we know that. It's not Romantic Zone, and it's not South Side, and it's not Old Town. It is Emiliano Zapata. Let's see what else. Is Zona Romantica the real name of the colonia or a local name? No. Zona Romantica is this weird contraption that was put together, as I understanding. I could have this story wrong, but it was a marketing alternative that the local um, residents and businesses came up with, I believe in the 70s or the 80s, to try to market Colonia Emiliano Zapata as a place for families, as a place for love and romance of the heterosexual kind. And the name stuck, but it's not the official name. Let's see what else. Headed to Vallarta tomorrow, and it will be difficult to refrain from hugging the wonderful people. Oh, I hear you, Jody. I am a big hugger, but these days it's one needs to be very, very careful. And unfortunately, the new variant, the Omicron variant, is very communicable. So one needs to be particularly careful with close contact. What is the acceptable documentation for vaccinations from the USA? There is no standard form. Whatever certificate you have is the acceptable documentation. Let's see. Jody tips 20%. Lori tips 20%. Deb tips 20%. Bill tips 20%. Javier and Lori and Barbara tips 25%. So there you have it. Again, that is not meaning to shade our Mr. Yerba Mate, but this is what goes on down here. If the expectations for tips are different in other cities, I can certainly appreciate that. So there you have it. Lots of 20%. That's good to hear. And again, every restaurant, thank you very much for that, Rob. El Palomar de los Gonzales is a wonderful restaurant. I'm sorry one person had a bad experience. Happens to the best of us. I have had great meals at restaurants, and then I've had not so great meals at the same restaurants. I'm usually want to give restaurants a second chance, particularly if I already know them. Lately, I will admit, I've gotten really flustered with restaurants that don't even have the decency to provide basic information like their open hours or their address on places like Facebook, where you don't even, it shouldn't even be a major effort for a restaurant to do so because it's free. It's free to put up your information. But yeah, I hope that this doesn't imply to others that El Palomar de los Gonzales is a bad restaurant, and I hope it was an isolated incident. I really don't like to see these negative kinds of reviews here in this forum. Well, I have two comments about that, Barbara. Number one is we occasionally see them, and it's great that we don't see them very frequently, because I would not want that to be the norm. That said, it is worth saying that during 10 seasons, Friends produced about 230 episodes, and not all the episodes were stellar. So I have found myself, tuning out of certain episodes of Friends that were not for me. So if you ever find yourself, Barbara, in a situation in which you're not particularly liking the comment or the content here at Coffee and Headlines, well, it'll happen eventually. It'll happen from time to time, and all you have to do is, switch the channel and come back for the next one. But I side with you. This is not a place for rants, and we don't necessarily want to become a place for rants here. Let's see what else we have. The cluster thinks we're sleeping together, Michael. No, we're just sharing curry, and that is just sharing curry. Oh dear, look at the time. We're almost done here. Does the South Side just refer to the South Side of Emiliano Zapata, not really naming a full zone? I think the understanding is South Side is south of the Rio Quale. And I cannot even confirm or deny that because I refuse to call that part of town South Side. And that's just me. I have to change my name to Mr. Cheap. No, I don't think so, Daniel. I don't think so. You have just landed here. You come from another country, you come from another culture. So again, this is not throwing shade at you. It's trying to help you understand what goes on in our city. So please, please don't consider yourself shaded in any way. Not at all. Uh, um, and Claudia brings an important reminder. Not minimum wage. It's minimum. What is it? What's the term? Minimum earn wage. Minimum wage. It is important for people to know that minimum wage here in Puerto Vallarta, in Mexico, is 150 pesos a day. It just went up, but still, earning 150 pesos a day is not a lot of money. So it is important. It is important to keep that in mind. Da 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 da. If oh, Raymond, if you leave a gratuity at a steakhouse, is that considered cow tipping? Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for those puns. I love it. Let's see. What? Looking forward to attending Corazon de Niña Open Your Heart Gala at the Mary. Well, I know nothing about it, but have a good time. Uh, let's see what else. Have I missed the Colonia feature today? I don't know. Meggy as in Peggy. I know that we delivered it, so there you have it. And we are now at the end of your comments. Thank you so very much for joining us today. As always, you make everything possible through your comments, through your questions, through your inspiration, through your subscription, through your company, through your good vibes, and through your sometimes not good vibes. One more. If you are strongly disappointed with a restaurant, 20%, that is a very good question. If the service was bad, no. If the service was good, I still think that the wait staff did a good job. If the cuisine did not, you can either choose to let the owner know or you can choose not to go back. But Michael, I think I saw a great comment by Michael not too long ago. Let's see if I can find it. We all make mistakes no matter what. It's how it's addressed that makes the difference. And what a great comment to leave today's broadcast. Thank you very much. We'll be back tomorrow, as you know, and tomorrow will be the last day of this week. Have a great weekend. I'm starting right now. Bye-bye.